yeah, I'm going to give this session, Drupal 8 Cache for developers. First of all, I want to introduce myself. And I'm José Jiménez Carrión in IRC and Twitter and Drupal and all that. I work as a backend developer at Bundekraut, Sweden. And yeah, I'm a member of the Spanish Association and the Drupal Association as well. First of all, I want to give thanks to the local group that has worked a lot to make this happen, and all the sponsors and the Spanish Association that is behind all this, and Bundekraut as well, because it's letting me be here. So thank you. I'm going to talk about these things. Drupal console, I don't know if you use it a lot or not, but it's a tool that makes us the life a little easier. I'm going to talk a little about blocks and dependency injection and the cache system in Drupal 8 that I will focus on the render cache and the cache API. And I will show an example of BigPipe as well. So let's start. Yeah, Drupal console. I think that it's a really useful tool if you are a developer, because you are going to be able to generate a lot of code, and it will help you debugging things and see how many routes, services, and things like that we have in Drupal. So if you want to install it, you can use the composer require like this. And if you want to install if you want to download a full Drupal project, you can use this command that it will create a folder and it will download everything using the Drupal project from Drupal Composer. And yeah, I think that it's a really fast way to create a site with all the dependencies and everything that we need. Here you have the documentation, and yeah, you can look for everything there. So yeah, if you want to use Drupal console, is really easy. You can run this command, that is the Drupal list, and it will show all the commands that we can execute. And yeah, then you can, if you use it this way to download Drupal, after you have to install Drupal, and you can use the Drupal site install. That is the Drupal console way that it will ask you everything here, or you can use Drush, so it's the equivalent, and you can use both ways to do it. After that, yeah, you can generate things, and we are going to show. We are going to see an example on this. You can generate modules and things like that. And you can install, and you can use Drush, or you can use Drupal console as you want. So first of all, I'm going to show a little demo of creating a module, a simple block, and we are going to check the cache, what is going to happen with the cache, and we will see some problems with that. So this is very easy. So this is a clean installation of a Drupal standard profile. And yeah, we don't have anything in modules. And now with Drupal console, we are going to create a module. This is a command that it will show all the commands. And the Drupal console is very known, but generate. But you can see other stuff like container debug and root debug and things like that, and you will be able to see all the things that are running in Drupal. So yeah, here I have written the Drupal generate module, and I'm answering questions. This is not very. This is going to create just an info YAML file, so it's not so much, because I'm not answering to create a test and things like that. So it's not so much. But when you create a content entity or a block or something like that, maybe it's much more useful, because Drupal console is going to generate a lot of code. So this is the info YAML file that it has created. That is not so much. And now we are going to enable the module. And we are going to use Drupal console as well. It has an autocomplete. And yeah, that's all. So if we go back to the presentation, well, another thing that I haven't said is that here in this Git repository there is a repository where you can see all the examples that I'm going to show, and it's divided in different branches, and here is the branches that I'm showing in each step. Okay, effecto demo, because I haven't finished my video. Yeah, I wanted to create a block as well. Sorry about that. So if I generate a block, Drupal console is going to ask me where I want to put that block, which is going to be the name of the class that I want to use, which is the region that I want to show it. It has an autocomplete. If I want to load services from the container, now I'm not going to use it, but in the next step I'm going to answer yes to that question. And if I generate the block, then I will see that a plugin has been created in the folder structure with the namespace and all that. And it has that markup. And if I come here to the site, it will appear that implement simple block. And now we are going to see the first problem that we have with the cache. Because if I change this, and I save it, I go to the site, and I refresh it, but nothing is going to change. So if I clear the cache, then I will see the change. What this means is that Drupal is coming with the cache by default, and it's going to be fast by default. But here we are going to have a problem, because every little change that we want to. Oh, this is not. I thought that I was removing okay, never mind. So every little thing that I want to change in the code, I'm going to have to clear the cache, and that is going to be extremely slow if I want to develop something. So I'm going to do something to remove that cache locally. So we have in the settings PSP, we have some lines that are commented out, and I have to uncomment those lines. That this is going to include the settings local PSP. And in the settings local PSP, I'm going to say where are going to be my development services. And I'm going to use this cache for all the rendering. I'm going to use the cache bucket null, and this, well, this is not related, but I recommend that you put this line so you can see all the errors that are happening in Drupal instead of a white screen saying that something went wrong. So in the development services, I can define this service that is going to be a null backend factory that is not going cache anything. And yes, this is not related with the cache, but yeah, this is to show all the Twix files and all that are rendered in the different parts of the site. So now everything is going to be fast for us, not for the users, of course. And yeah, something that is really important, don't do that in production, because we want to cache everything. But locally, you don't want to cache, and you have to work faster. So I'm going to create another example that is going to be changing that simple block that I have created. Now I'm going to say hello to the user. So I'm going to type this hello, and I'm going to display the name. I'm not using the dependency injection yet here. And yeah, it's going to be better to do it in the other way, but we will see that. So, and here we are going to have another problem. This is going to work locally. So everything is not going to be cached, and I'm going to see the good behavior, but in production, everything is going to be messed up. So I'm going to show now what will happen. So now I am an anonymous user, and it's saying here, hello, anonymous. And I'm going to log in as the user 1. And now it says, hello, user 1. So if I log out, and I log in again as the user 2, I'm showing to the user, hello, user 1, but I'm user 2. Imagine that this, for example, would be, for example, telephone number or bank account of the user or something like that. So sensible data that we don't want to show to the different users. Sorry. So there we have a problem. We are going to see the solution in a moment. And now I'm going to show another scenario. And I'm going to show the content of an example site. That is going to be this one. I have created one site with some articles that will have the different pictures, and I'm going to use a tag for each article that is going to be mountain and beach. So the thing is that I want to show a related products, a related nodes or articles, depending on each one. It's a really simple example, just to show how this works. And now I'm going to create another block that is going to add that functionality, that in the beach articles I want to show a block with beaches, and in the mountain articles I want to show the mountains. Okay? I'm going to add services to the block, and I'm going to add a setting form for the block as well, so we can see how Drupal console can build this. So I'm going to run the same command, generate plugin block. It's going to ask me about the module. And I'm going to get the default one. This is the name of the class. I'm going to call it related node block. I'm going to put it in the sidebar first. And in this time I'm going to load services from the container. So this has an autocomplete as well, and it's really easy to add these services that I'm getting from the container, and Drupal console will create all the methods of create and construct and all that. So everything is going to be fast to use this. I want to create a setting form for this block as well. And I'm going to add just one field that is going to be a number field, where I'm going to set the number of related nodes that I want to show. And the default value is going to be 2. So with all this, Drupal console has created this. And now the value that I'm going to show in this block is going to be the number, the default number, that is 2. And now we are going to see the code. So I have now one new class that is related blocks. And if you see, Drupal console has generated a lot of things. Now I'm using dependency injection. That is a really good practice to use. That is going to be better for us to use unit test and yeah. So I have the default configuration, the block form that is created, and when I submit the block setting form, I'm going to save the configuration there. So now I can configure the block, and now I have here this field that I have just created, and I can change it, and everything is going to work. So it's good. So Drupal console, I think that it's a really useful tool. Yeah, that is something that sometimes happens, that you decide that, okay, I'm going to create a blog or I don't know, whatever, and you can load services from the container, but you forget to add one or something like that. This is not really important. I use PSP Storm, and yeah, this is maybe it's just a little trick, but if you forget to add something, add a service, Drupal console is not going to help you, because Drupal console is going to override the class, so you cannot add services to a current block or whatever. And yeah, if you know the class, for example, if I want to use the logger, I can type in the class, that is the logger channel factory interface, and I'm going to get this one. And if you initialize the field, I'm going to check this one that I want to add, and Drupal console is going to create all this and this, and now the only thing that I need is to add the container and get the logger factory. And yeah, if you have, I don't know if you use it, PSP Storm, as Teun said a moment ago in another talk, if you are really fan of Vim, yeah, it's okay. you can do all this, but if not, I think that PSP Storm is a really good tool to work. So with this, I have everything in place, so I can use the logger now, and here I can use this. So now that block that I have just created, it hasn't got any logic, so I cannot do that I wanted to do. That it was to show the related products. It's showing just a number. So I'm going to add some logic to that block. I have that one in the step 5 branch. So here, can you read everything from the back, or do you want to increase the size or something? Okay. So here, for example, I'm I'm going to do some logic in this block. Of course, you can do this with views or maybe another way, but it's just to show an example of something. So first of all, I'm going to get the current node if I have, and if I have a node, if I don't have a node, I'm going to return an empty array. Here is going to be the first problem. So if I use this in production, that empty array is going to be cached, and it won't arrive here anymore. So I will have to fix that. After that, I'm going to get the tags. I'm going to get the name of the tag, and I'm going to go to the getRelatedNodes method that I have here, and I'm going to make a query. Something that this query is going to work with nodes. And maybe you know this, but if you add this .entity.name, you can arrive to the name of the entity that it's inside the field tag. So it's really useful, and the query is going to create all the joins and all that to get that information. So in the range, I'm going to say 0 to the configuration number that comes from the configuration from the block, that is that 2 by default. And I'm going to execute, and I'm going to return the IDs. So with those IDs, I'm going to load all the entities that are here with this load multiple. And I have related nodes. I'm going to loop through them. I'm going to use the entity type manager to get the view builder. So this is going to create some render arrays with the teaser of the node, of those nodes that I want to print. And I'm putting this in this variable. I'm going to return this. So let's see what is happening now. I'm going to clear cache. Sorry. Because I have changed the branch, so otherwise it's going to break somewhere. And now, if I go to the site, here I have the block, and now I'm showing I'm not in a node, so I'm showing the return array. That is nothing, so I'm not showing anything. And if I come here, I'm not showing anything either, because I have that render, that empty array that is cache, and I'm not showing anything. So I have to clear cache again. I have to say that I have the configuration from production, not from locally. If I refresh, now I should see some mountains here. And yeah, it worked. I have some mountains, but if I go to a node that is from a beach, I still see the mountain. So everything is cached in a wrong way. This is really fast. It has loaded really fast, but I'm not invalidating the cache for those for that block. So let's see what we can do. Yeah, this is the conclusion that I have to take from this. As a developer, if you create custom code, you always have to think about the cache strategy. This is important, that create custom code. If you do this with site building, creating views and all that, you are not going to have this problem, because that is going to be solved by views, adding the cache tags and all that. But if you write some code, you always have to think about the cache. And maybe this is the most important part of the talk. I mean, yeah, be careful with this. So let's see. Now with Drupal 8, we have two types of caches. That is, one is the internal page cache, that it was the old Drupal 7 cache that is based on the URL and is just for anonymous. So yeah, it's going to cache the whole URL and it's going to cache the whole HTML. But it doesn't work with authenticated users. If you are using an external cache, Barnies, Nginx, or whatever, it should be better if you deactivate this cache, because Barnies is going to take care of that. And this is the new Drupal 8 type of cache. That is the internal dynamic page cache. So it's not so fast as the page cache, because it's going to take care of two little pieces of the side of the page, not the whole page. It works with cacheability metadata that we are going to see right now. It's going to bubble up when it needs. This means that if you have the header and one piece of the header that has to be invalidated, it will invalidate the header as well. So it knows that it has to clear the cache of that piece in a clever way. And yeah, as I said before, you have to think always about the cache. So the dynamic page cache, you can set 4 types of keys in the render arrays. The first one is the cache keys. That is going to add a prefix in the database entries. So this is really useful if you don't know what is happening. You can add a key, and then you will see that entry, that key in the database, and it's going to be easier to see the problem. I will show an example on this later. This is the cache tags that are depending on the entity, so in the on the content of the site. And it works like this. So this is the cache tags, and you can add an array that is going to be the entity type and the ID of the entity. So, for example, this is going to be invalidated when the node 2 has changed. So it's going to be invalidated. This is the user 3, and we have some special one that is the node list. So for a view, for example, when one of the members of the view has been changed, it has to invalidate everything. Another key is the context. That is depending on the context of the object. So it can be things like URLs, permissions of the user that are watching the site, IPs, and things like that. We will see more examples. And this is the max age. That is the time in minutes that the object has to live, the time to live. So you can set a time in minutes, and after that time, that object is going to be invalidated, and it will be refreshed. Sometimes it's difficult to know the difference between cache context and cache tags, and Wim Leers said that the cache tags capture the data dependencies, and cache context capture request dependencies. Okay, how can we test locally, and how can we see how the site is going to work on production, and how can we avoid to use the cache always? Because if we use the cache always, we have to clear cache always. So those lines that I commented before, that it was to remove the cache, you have to play with those lines. You can comment and uncomment, and after, you have to clear cache after you made the changes. So with this, you are going to activate and deactivate the cache locally. And it's really important that, yeah, of course, when you want to develop, you are going to work with this. But before commit all your changes, please change it to this one to see how it's going to work and try with different users and all that. OK, so let's fix both problems. We have the user problem and the related nodes. OK, this is the related nodes. If you remember, we had an empty array here that it was going to be cached. So now, well, this is a HTML tag with a P, and I'm going to show this value. There are no related articles, but I will have to add this. This is the key that I talked before. That is just to add a prefix in the database, so I can see the database and see where is my entry, and I can analyze that. But the important part is this one. In the context, I'm going to invalidate that piece of code depending on the URL. And not just the URL, the path of the URL. So with this, Drupal will create a new entry in the database per different URLs. If I go a little down, yeah, all this is the same, but here I have added this. So I have added a context for the URL for those blocks. So the block that it was showing the related content, now it will listen to the URL, and now it will create different cache for different URLs. In the simple block, that one that we were showing the different user to different sensible information to different users and all that, I'm going to add a context that is the user. So it will create a cache for each user that is logged in the site. And with this, I'm going to avoid that problem that I'm going to show different information to different users. If I clear cache now, you will see that this is going to work, hopefully. So this should show beaches right now. And if I go to a mountain, it will show mountains. And the user, yeah, is going to, well, I don't want to, yeah, trust me, this is going to work as well. So the hello user one is going to work. This is, here I said that I added in the simple block this summary user key, and this is the result of that. So if I go to this table, that is where all the cache render is going to be. I'm going to, if you can see, this summary user is the prefix that I have added with that keys. So with that, yeah, I'm going to see that hello user one and all that. And I can debug things with this, and I can know what is happening if you can trace that. Okay, I'm going to show more examples now without demo. But in this example, for example, we are getting some configuration from one config file. That is the project layout footer settings. So if the editor changes that configuration, we will need to invalidate the cache. Otherwise, it's going to be cache. So I don't remember what was this, but yeah, there is a message that the editor can change, and after that configuration change, we have to invalidate the cache. So this is the way. We can add a cache tags that is a config, and this is the name of the config file that is going to be changed. This is another example, for example, that sometimes with the URL path is not enough. In a project, we were using query arguments, question marks, and things, and yeah, we had that problem. So we need to add those URL query arguments to get invalidated by those query arguments. Or maybe a cookie. So if you are using a cookie and the user can enter to different types, I don't know, yeah, depending on the cookie, you have to show something differently. You can use this context in this case, that is cookies, and then the name of the cookie. And this one, for example, it was an API call to a web service that and we were getting data, and by the design of the site, we had to wait 15 minutes. So it was a time to live of 15 minutes. So you can, in this case, we hadn't any other option to invalidate when it was changed. So you can add this cache message 900 minutes. Seconds. So sometimes you want to avoid the cache of the whole page, and you can use this. So this, for example, is in a node view. You can call this service that is page cache kill switch trigger, and that will kill all the cache for the complete page. So don't use it very much because the site is going to be slow, but yeah, maybe sometimes you need that. This is a better way if you can create the route. You can use these options, no cache, true, so that won't be cache for that route. And if you don't have enough with those contexts, you can create your own context. Drupal console has a command that is generate cache context, where it's going to create the context. That is which branch? 7. No, I was in the wrong. Okay. So this is what Drupal generate has created without this line. So yeah, it's really easy. So this is the host context that I have created, and it will return just the server HTTP host. So if you have two sites, well, two domains that are pointing to the site, you are going to have different entities. Yeah, this is going to be what you will get in the cache render table. You are going to have entity, view, blocks, simple block, and then this new one that is host. And I have an alias, DrupalCast dev and DrupalCast dev2.dev. So with that, so you can extend the cache context and use it by your own. Okay, and now Big Pipe. I don't know when was introduced to Drupal. I think that it was 8.1 point something as an experimental module, but now it's an stable module that you can use. And the idea of this is that the site is going to get the same time to load, but it will show content asynchronously. So it will show the cache content first, and then it will show the one that is more expensive to calculate later. So the result can be something like that, for example. And for that, you need to define a lazy builder that is going to be a class and a method, and you will have to call it a state using a static method, and that create placeholder equal true. And you have to enable the module, don't forget that. So I'm going to change to that branch. So if I come to this one, yeah, the first part is the same, but now I have this build, lazy builder, and all that. And that method that is lazy builder is going to be this one. Yeah, to make it work with the demo, I have put a sleep of 2 seconds, so you can see that it's going to take more time. And yeah, this function is this method is static, so you cannot use dependency injection here. That's why I call it everything static. And it's going to be the same code. So if I clear cache, and I come here, well, the first load is going to be after the clearing cache. But if you see, this has appeared after everything else. So it appears everything that is cached, and then it comes this after 2 seconds. So yeah, that's Big Pipe. I haven't used it in production. I don't know if anyone here has used it, Big Pipe, enable it or something. Okay. Yeah, but I think that we should start to use it. Yeah, another thing. This is not the render cache. This is cache API. And sometimes you don't want to cache something in the render, in a render array, and maybe you have to put data in the cache. That it is the same as Drupal 7. So here I'm defining this is a service, and what I'm going to do is this get active languages. I'm going to define the cache ID however I want. I mean, this is just a name of the cache ID, but I can add some dynamic things. So if I get, for example, the language, then I will have a cache ID per language. So I will have more cache entries in the database. And it's really simple. If the cache has data, I'm going to return the data. And if not, I'm going to set the data in that cache ID. So it's really easy to use the cache and put things in the cache. Yeah, something that I faced the first time that I started to play with this, it was with the database backend, and that worked locally because I wasn't using memcache or something like that. But in production, we were using memcache, and that is not going to work. So we use the cache factory. That everything is going to be from there. So that it will work with any type of cache that we are using. Yeah, but this is really easy to implement. You have the documentation in Drupal.org. This same. No, it's not this example. It's another one. Yeah, and I have seen this this sentence today in the first talk. There are just two hard things in computer science. That is the cache invalidation and naming things. In the other talk was about the naming things, but now we are in the cache invalidation. Yeah, and Amitai said the other day that sometimes clear cache once is not enough. and you know that. So, yes. And this is another tweet that Nacho, I don't know if he's here or not, he was saying that. I think that it's really, really awesome, the new cache system. And the thing that you can invalidate with cache tags and context and all that, it's really useful and makes everything really easy. So I agree with this. So, yeah, some resources. I think that the API documentation from Drupal, a colleague from me, it's this, Mike. He has started to write some posts about Drupal cache, and yeah, now I think that he has written 2, but he wants to write, I don't know if 15 or something like that. So maybe you can follow that. And yeah, he has talked about cache in another sessions and all that. So there are some slides. This is a talk from Pedro and Mateo, I think that it was, I don't know where, but I don't know, Granada or another DrupalCamp, so I think that it's really interesting. And you have that, yeah, Drupal Inquisition. I don't know if you know that, but if not, take a look. And you, yeah. And yeah, I think that we have to thank a lot to this guy, Wim Leers, because he has made all this possible. And yeah, he's everywhere. And yeah. Mike, a colleague, that is that one. I don't know if you haven't seen that video, I recommend you that as well. He's a zombie, and yeah. And Javi, that has has been helping me with some examples and all that. A colleague. So yeah, that's all. Thank you.